Yeah.
All this money that we can make, why don't y'all just lead the way? Do you wanna get money or not?
Do it like this.
Do you wanna get money or not?
My first view of what it do was with my crew posted on the stoop. Gold chain, small rope, but bitches peek the cool. Wore mine all the time, inspired by the corner con. Foreign ride, tents on 35, trap doing side for the stick. 9.5s for the kicks, neon green. I had them too, but was married to penny ones. Where habits could get you done, and the addicts was on the run. And Biggie shit was the Bible, and the magic had almost won. And it all made sense, but the pattern it could become when you watching the BMW advocate all them jums. It seemed more or less like the havoc that could be done is relieved. Long as you got a bag and a muffled tongue. And I seen how it be when it come to idolatry. We just wanted to cop an AV and see what idolaters need. You know, pop bottles, chicks that favor idolaters. You jump off the stoop like I got us. It only take one, be it a vision on how to get it, or a kid who could picture it when the day done. Growing up out of pocket while being shown out of.
All right, today we're doing a build breakdown with Suppy from HOONIGAN's Lights. We just finished his Mark IV Supra and super stoked that they came out super clean. It was a longer term project. So very happy to get these out to him and see him on the car. But let's walk through what we did and how we made it happen. So these lights headed to us. There are, come to find out, two different versions of the Mark IV Supra headlights. There are the pre and post facelift. So one of them has like a large like kind of bubble right between the fog light and the low beam. And that's like a running light, if you will. And then there's ones that don't. So the headlights themselves, the housings here, are the ones that have that running light blister. We were also provided these carbon fiber housings that were not made for those lights. So the only real difference is obviously the circle or the oval for that light to be protruding. And then also the lenses end a lot sooner. So the other ones, the lenses extend past to almost where this rubber gasket is here. So the carbon fiber housing itself was too large to fit inside this lens. So we had to do a lot of trimming, mostly on this side, but also the front, the sides up here as well, just to get this thing to fit inside the lens where it would find its final resting place. So that was a bit. The other things that Suppy requested were to have these nickel plated rings around the fog light, low beam, and high beam. So these were a cool touch. We actually had these machined on a lathe. Very cool touch. I usually when we do halos or like rings around projectors, they light up their halos. So this was a cool one where it's really very elegant, if you will. I think they look great. Really cool idea that he had. And yeah, just adds a little bit more of a kind of custom touch and using some nicer quality materials. The other thing we had while we were in there was we had the lens retainer for the Q45 projector nickel plated here. Because this is seen, I just wanted to make sure that the metal that you see was gonna match. So that was also done just for devil in the details. The last thing as far as the aesthetics of the headlight goes is the carbon fiber that was supplied to us was a gloss carbon fiber. So obviously when they made the piece or cast it, it was gloss carbon fiber. He wanted a matte or like a satin look. So we did shoot these with satin clear coat as well. It really just brings out the rings a lot more, the gloss of those, the shine on those, and just gives it a more subtle look. So very cool. Good taste. So the big thing, and I do mean physically large, thing that Suppy wanted to have done to these lights was to have the Q45 projector installed into the high beam. So this typically has a reflector high beam. It looks like a gigantic radar dish TV kind of thing. So what we did with those is the projectors themselves are very, very large. So the depth, like how far back they go, is a big fitment issue. So with any headlight that we do, we obviously want to make them look cool, but we also want to make them super functional. So there are certain modifications that we just won't do, like jewel eyes is a one, for example, like the Acura. You have to cut the whole back of the headlight up. I just don't like the fact that it may introduce elements of the outside in. So when it came to modifying this in order to fit these, as you could see, we didn't at all, which I'm very proud of. So these are ones that we talking with him, we definitely wanted to make sure that the rear cap of the headlight was completely sealed. There was no cutting, there was no issues with possible fitment when he went to install them on the car. So for these, we wanted to try to figure out how could we fit this large projector inside there. So there was a lot of cutting, a lot of trimming. We wanted it functional as well. Obviously we do have a low beam projector in there, but this is one that we wanted to light up. So we actually ended up using Diode Dynamics switchback LEDs just to give them a nice, pure, clean, white LED appearance. And if you see, actually, if you look from the top, You can see like how much of it we had to trim. So obviously it ends right about here, and then all this other stuff there. So that was a fun one. But either way, it turned out really nice. We got those tucked in there, looking good. So on to the next part, how we were able to attach those where the factory high beam would go, as well as the low beam projector. So obviously the factory low beam in these Mark IV Supra lights is a single low beam only function. The new ones that we ended up using are bi-xenon. So it's the Morimoto 5.0 D2S projector. It's a full 3-inch projector, HID, and it does low and high beam. So this will cover both functions. And then the Q45 will simply be just for looks. Looking real good though. So for these, we ended up having to, because the low beam is cast into this internal geometry, this bracket here, what we ended up doing was actually taking a scan of this, importing it in a CAD, and having a new one cut out for our use. So this one mirrors the same geometry. We did have to shift the bolts for that ball joint to a different spot, which we were able to do, and then we obviously bent that to match the angle there. But yeah, these just turned out really clean. Everything lined up really well. We ended up making them the same depth as the factory low beam projector. So if you look in there, it's nice and centered. So we're about to turn these things on so you guys can see what they look like all lit up. I did want to give a massive thank you to Suppy at HOONIGAN for allowing us the ability to do this and trusting us in order to make it happen. Can't wait to see these on the car. And until next time we do a build breakdown, if you guys want a set like this, hit us up. sales@circuitneiman.com, or we have a phone number, 585-420-6920. Yes, that's a real phone number. We'll talk to you soon.